and welcome to the Latina Leaders Podcast, where we celebrate, uplift, and empower Hispanic and BIPOC women. I'm your host, Jennifer Cortez, founder of Latina Leaders, creative entrepreneur, and wear many hats. I'm so excited to introduce today's guest. She is an overall entrepreneur in many areas, and she is the founder of She Rises. She's also the creator of Mommy Me SalsaFit, and she's also Latina, which is why she's on this podcast. So I would love to introduce to you Andrea Mendoza.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for having me today. Thank you for this wonderful space that you have opened up for us Latinas. Really appreciate you, and I'm so grateful for your time and for
thank you so much for that. Thank you for being here. And first, I would love for you to introduce yourself. I know you do much more than what I said, so please share with us.
Yes. So as all women, we all wear so many different hats. So I am a daughter, I am a mother, I am a wife, I am an entrepreneur, I am a leader in the community. So many hats that we wear. So anyways, so a mom of two. I've been married for almost 8 years, mom of two. My boys are 6 years old and 3 years old. And time is flying. So, and also being an entrepreneur, you really see how time flies because you're wearing all these hats. A little bit more about me. My dad is from Ecuador. He was born in Ecuador. My mom was born in Peru. My parents met here in Canada. So they met here and I'm born here. My husband is also from Ecuador. And I am, as you mentioned, the creator of Mommy Me SalsaFit. It's been a wonderful experience. I've been doing that ever since I was pregnant with my first. So 6 years now, I've been doing Mommy Me SalsaFit, and I also do SalsaFit on its own as a subdivision. Also the founder of She Rises Network Canada, which has been a beautiful, amazing experience. And the reason and the goal behind that is to connect women, empower women, bring women together, and offer them bi-monthly women events where they can go to have some me time, self-care time. And it's been amazing like that.
That's amazing. So that is a lot of things. So I'm really honored that Andrea's here today, and it's inspirational what you do. And we did meet, and I'm trying to remember how we met.
Fuerza
Latina. Yeah, we met there. And then since then, we kind of just connected on social media. Yeah. So I see the stuff that you do, and I know you're very busy. So first of all, what inspired you to start Mommy Me SalsaFit?
So what inspired me was becoming a mom, first of all. A little bit about my background. I actually am an ECE, early childhood educator. I went to school, I got my diploma, and I also got my degree. And I always had this vision for myself that, I would get a good job, climb the corporate ladder. And I was borderline there, but then I got pregnant shortly after getting married. And I was like, after you become a mom, everything changes. I had this little face in front of me and I was like, I don't know if I can go back to work. But for me, it's always been like, I've got my career, I've got my job. I had a great job with the city of Toronto. So, benefits and all that good stuff, you don't want to lose that. So then I came across this entrepreneurship through network marketing, right? And I saw an opportunity and I was like, maybe I can work on this and do this. And it happened to be just before the pandemic. So I was like, you know what, maybe I can work my way up, see if I can make some income. I saw some of the income. I was happy. And I was like, look, if I can continue this pace, then maybe I can match what I'm making my salary with the city. So you know what? Maybe I can stay home with my baby.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So I had almost matched it, but it was enough for me to be like, you know what? I could stay home with my baby.
Good for you.
And that's when I started Mommy Me SalsaFit. So I started doing SalsaFit classes. We worked out of a fitness club. And it was fun because people would come to the class. Mummies would come with their babies, with their toddlers and their young kids. And we would do the SalsaFit together. And I had my firstborn, Sammy, in the baby carrier. And we were he's been doing it with me his whole life.
That's amazing.
So that's how that started.
So I'm assuming you love salsa?
Yes.
Salsa dancing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not a professional, but I do love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
It is.
So, okay, so you got there, and that's amazing that you were able to steer, because I was the same. I was in corporate for many years, and then steer it away to taking that first step, I feel like it's very courageous to do that because you're leaving a lot behind, right? Especially like you said, if you're almost like set with the city and the benefits and everything, and just, so that's amazing that you did that. And then you moved on to She Rises. How did that start?
So She Rises started last July. So it's going to be our 1-year anniversary is coming up, actually.
Okay.
So that was another like channel and way for me to connect with other women, because through SalsaFit, I started beginning to help women with their postpartum results. So I started with my own results, and people were watching and they were connecting and reaching out. Hey, how did you get those results? How did you lose 20 pounds? How did you, you look more toned? And I also went through postpartum hair loss. So I shared a little bit of that journey. So I connected with more women, more moms. And that was another way. So I was like, I would help women with their nutrition plan, with their workouts from home. It was nice. Sometimes they would come to the club and participate in SalsaFit or Mommy Me SalsaFit. And that's just basically how I carried through. And then She Rises. She Rises, I wanted to find another way, another means of connecting women, empowering women, and just supporting and locking arms with each other. And that's what happened. And so many people have been interested in not just participating in our events, but also collabing with us, partnering up with us, offering their services. Hey, can I do a workshop for you? This could empower women. And I'm like, yes, I jump the gun and I say yes.
Yeah. Is there anything specific that you want to do this year that you haven't, especially for your 1 year? Your 1 year anniversary. Are you going to do like some kind of celebration?
We are going to do a celebration. We are actually starting to work on the date and stuff like that, and like the little details.
Is it going to be in July?
It's going to be in July.
So I'm going to mark it down right now so I can be there.
Yes, and then we will share with you guys the official date once we release it. Okay. But we're trying to book a date in July that works for us. But we have a lot of things going on already in July, so we have to be very careful what date we book.
For sure. For sure.
It's getting very busy for everyone, which is a good thing.
It is a good thing. It is a good thing. So, okay, so you talked a little bit about fitness and your love for health and fitness and transformation. So is there anything that you want to share with us about your challenges?
So as a transformation coach, every month we do, on the first Monday of the month, we begin a 21-day challenge. It's been amazing. It's been a blessing because I also, as a coach, get to be part of this challenge. So it's not like I just have clients coming into the challenge. I participate myself. Every month.
Oh my gosh.
So I love it because it keeps me accountable. It keeps me consistent, and I see the results and I see the changes over time.
Okay.
So that's been the beauty about it. And then, life is about growth, right? Why are we stopping, kind of thing? If it's giving you a good outcome, if it's a good, healthy lifestyle, why stop, right? So what I do is I set up my clients with like a nutrition plan, a workout plan, and then they get access to download an app that we have.
Okay.
And then they can do their workouts from home or from the gym. There's different levels from beginner, intermediate, and advanced. I do check-ins, regular check-ins, and then it's amazing. And so many people get their results that way. There's also a chance for people to win $1,000. We pick 10 winners a month, and it's $1,000 US that you win for the best transformations. And if I could show you guys these transformations, they're pretty insane. So for starting, people usually, when they first initially connect with me, I off the bat ask, okay, great. What are your goals? Like a broad question, obviously, right? But then they're like, okay, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send you off. I send you a wellness transformation evaluation that is free. I send that to your email. People fill it out. It can take anywhere from 5 or less minutes to fill out. You give me your weight. You give me like more or less your height. And then if you have a measuring tape, you measure yourself in different areas that it will require you to measure. You input that. You send it off. It comes back to me. I check it out, and then I tailor a program for each person. So it's not like every person's getting the same program.
Right, for sure.
I'm tailoring according to what their numbers are. I'm tailoring according to their goals, and I'm tailoring according to their needs.
Yes.
So we kind of meet halfway, and I also tailor to people's budgets because that's also important too, right?
100%.
Budgets. So, and that's how we get the ball rolling.
Okay, that sounds really amazing. I think, especially 21 days. So is it something that you consistently do as far as, let's say, I joined.
Yes.
For this month. Is it something that a person can continue?
Absolutely.
Every single month with you?
To be honest, if anything, that is our goal for everyone, because obviously 21 days is the time you need to make or break a habit, kind of a thing, right? But we want you obviously to continue, because that way we continue with your goals, right? Because goals don't come overnight.
Yeah.
It's a great starting point, But I feel more or less, no matter what your goal is, you need to give yourself at least 90 days in any program, whatever program you do.
What keeps you motivated to do everything that you do? Like, what is that? Is it the way you grew up that you saw from your parents, or just something that you've picked up? Like, I'm curious to know.
It's a little bit of everything. It is the way I was raised. My parents had 4 kids. I'm the eldest of 4. We see our parents as immigrants, how hard they work in this country, right? Everything they've 100%. Done. My dad always had 2 jobs most of his life. My mom, after she had my little brother, she just decided to stay home because it was a lot, right? So she's like, I need to focus more on my kids and my family, which makes sense because I actually did that myself, right? Once I became a mom. So I really admire that. I really admire the whole family connection, that family is everything. Really, family is everything, but also with your family, you grow together, right?
Yeah.
So, and from a young age, I remember I've shared this already, but I'll share here. My dad, for as long as I have memory, probably since I was like 5, I can remember my dad coming home from work, tired from work.
Yeah.
And he would come home and do a workout at home.
Wow.
He would pick up dumbbells and he would do push-ups and sit-ups and his dumbbells. He would do jumping jacks, you name it. But my whole life, he modeled that for me until I was older.
Okay.
So by the time I was 16 here, I think it was back in, I don't know now, but to enroll in a gym, you had to be, I think, 16.
Okay.
So I was counting down 16 so I could start working out, because for me, it was so important because I saw what it did for my dad and the importance of health and wellness. And then after, just growing up, my parents did influence a lot not because of the struggle, but so much, my parents have always been about giving back also, right? And the way they just, they raised us is such an inspiration. So I strive for that. I strive to show that to my kids.
Yeah.
That, that you could make an impact. And I always say to my boys, we need to be the light. We need to be the light
I've heard you say this before. I love that. We need to be, she teaches that. And that's a great way to start the day, right?
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. We always start our day with prayers and then with our personal development, we prepare our minds for whatever the day sends us, because you never know. So I think that's so important. So I think I think as Latin Americans, as Latinas, it was the way we were raised. I have to say, I think we're very fortunate if we were to compare, like, the way we were raised was just so blessed, because the mindset has always been like, go get it. The sky is the limit. Not even the sky is not the limit. You go reach for the stars.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Follow your dreams, follow your heart, follow what God has put inside of you and make that come to fruition. So
100%, like my parents were the same, telling us, because this was not their country, right? Like your parents, they came here. And then the thing that was a barrier for your parents, I'm sure too, is the language.
Absolutely.
So for us, they always said that to me and my sister and my brother the same. You have the language, you have the language. You could do whatever you want here. They always kind of instilled that in us. Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So we do have strong parents. And that's exactly, I feel the same way. It's like you've seen their struggle.
Yes.
We grew up seeing their struggle, seeing their strength, seeing their courage, and all of the above, right? And it's almost like we're just trying to thank them in a way.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
Yeah.
I agree. 100%.
For the struggles. Because why? Why are we not going to?
Like, we can't settle.
We have to make sure this is our country. We were born here. This is our country, right? So we're definitely going to make a name for the roots that we have.
We're building legacies.
Right? So that's what I admire most about our generation before us. So I want to talk a little bit about your background. You said you are part Ecuadorian and part Peruvian.
That's right.
So, and your parents met here.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that, because part of the things that we talk about here is the background of everyone, right? We kind of want to educate people if they want to learn about the cultures, right? So
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the differences between Peru and Ecuador, and she's the person that's going to take us through that. I'm also Ecuadorian background, born here as well. So let's talk about it.
Oh man. Okay. So being half Peruvian Ecuadorian has been a great blessing. There's so many similarities, so culture-wise, there's like all the similarities are there. It's been amazing growing up. I would hear all the, the little jokes. My parents would, Peru is better than this, Ecuador is better than that, the whole back and forth. And then as a child growing up, my dad would corner me and be like, so are you more Peruvian or more Ecuadorian? So it's been fun like that. And I do identify myself. And it's funny because now I'm married to an Ecuadorian also. And sometimes my husband's like, do you identify more Ecuadorian or more Peruvian? He's like, I know, you identify more Peruvian. And I'm like, no, I do not. So I'm trying to be neutral, right? But he's like, no, I know you identify more Peruvian. I'm like, I don't, because I guess, I don't know, the cooking, I don't know what it is, but I do know how to cook both.
Okay.
I cook Ecuadorian dishes.
Yeah.
I can cook Peruvian dishes. And not for anything, I do get compliments on my cooking. Like since I was in high school with my friends, even like my close girlfriends, they'd always compliment our Peruvian dishes and our Ecuadorian dishes.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, so being half Ecuadorian, Peruvian it's been fun.
Okay.
It's been a blessing. And I love like the similarities, but also there is some differences, right?
Okay.
There are some differences. Ecuadorian people are more passionate.
Okay.
We're more like, and then Peruvians are more like relaxed and more like, I think that could be something we can say as a difference. But it's pretty
similar,
great.
right?
Pretty similar.
Overall, I find that too. Pretty much when we talk about Hispanic or Latin, we are very warm overall. I find we're very warm, we're very welcoming, and that's part of the culture. No matter who I've spoken to, especially immigrants coming here, they have said the first thing they had to get used to is how cold Canadians are. So, and they're coming from Latin American countries, right? So,
yeah.
So, any specific differences, like maybe, I don't know, maybe saying certain sayings, like, our language always changes. It's not always the same per country. And there's maybe certain words that are different in certain countries. So anything like that was like something, or maybe you're used to it because you were born into it.
I think I've adapted, and I feel like aside from adapting to the Spanglish, there's been like a Peruvian Ecuadorian-ish also, because my parents blended the words. For example, my mom, I know she stopped using a while ago, but in Peru, like when they say like spring jacket or your fall jacket, in Peru they call it casaca.
Okay.
But like, I remember hearing that word more from my grandma, but I guess my mom grew out of it because of my dad. Because what do we call it in like?
Spring jacket?
Yeah.
I say chaqueta.
Chaqueta. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like in Peru, they say casaca.
Casaca. That's very different.
Yeah.
I honestly, I haven't heard that. I've not heard that. Yeah. So, okay. That's interesting. Yeah. So there's certain words, like if someone was speaking to me, I would not know what that is. Right? It's really interesting. I find any popular dish in the Peruvian side that maybe you really enjoy making?
There's ceviche.
Okay.
The ceviche, lomo saltado.
Oh, that's my favorite. Lomo
saltado. Really?
Yeah.
And causa. Hands down causa.
Okay.
Causa, I don't know if you've ever tried it.
No, I don't.
So you cook the potatoes, you peel them, you cook them, you mash them, and then you put the yellow hot sauce in it that we have, that's Peruvian, ají amarillo that we call it, and you put salt and lemon. So that's like your base. It's like a shepherd's pie, but you don't cook it in the oven because you've already cooked your potatoes, right? Okay. And in the middle, you can do like shredded pollito, or you can do even like a tuna salad, encebollado de atún.
Oh, nice.
And you put that in the middle, and then you put your top layer. Oh, it's so good.
What's it called again?
Causa.
Causa.
Must try.
Causa.
Must
okay,
try.
Next time.
It's got slight of a kick to it. It depends who makes it and where you have it.
Okay.
But it's so good. And then lomo saltado, I feel like so many people know lomo saltado.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I always order when I go to like a Peruvian restaurant. I love it. It's amazing.
It's so good. And then Peruvian desserts, oh my gosh, everything. But for me, it's mazamorra morada. It's so good. Morada. So it's made with maíz morado. They add lemon to it, canela, manzana, and that all boils, and your whole house will have a beautiful, beautiful aroma for a few hours. And then it dejas que se cuaje, like it needs to settle for a little bit, because they use maicena to make it thick. Oh, that's so yummy. It's like your equivalent, almost like a rice pudding, but no rice in it, obviously.
Right.
Because the maicena thickens it up, but it's so good. And it's actually refreshing. It's not a super sweet dessert.
Okay. I want to talk about Latinas in general.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm going to have a sip of this.
Yeah,
it's going to get spicy.
Yes. So Latinas. One thing I love about you, Andrea, is how you're supportive of other women, in that you promote the wellness of other women, you promote these events, and you can also sense it and feel it when you're, the energy, right?
That's genuine.
Yeah, it's the genuine energy. I absolutely love that. And I hope you feel that way of me too. Like I do. Try to support. I
actually do.
Thank you.
From day one.
Okay. Thank you. So I try to do the same thing, because I really feel like if we work together, if we support each other, That's the only way we're going to continue to grow and also be healthy. And why are we going to add stress to our lives?
Exactly.
Like I truly believe in that. The harmony, the peace, that's how I want to live.
Girl.
Right.
Yep.
And so what advice would you give to other women? Because it's not always like that with women. It's not always like that. It can get catty in certain things. What advice would you give? Because I know I do want to bring up your best friend. And so how did you keep that friendship for so long without, getting into that area that I'm talking about?
The advice I would give other Latina entrepreneurs, honestly, just you have to follow God. You have to, first of all, put God first. Put God first. He will guide you. You need to ask him to take you by the hand and guide you on your entrepreneurship journey, because the entrepreneurship journey, let me tell you, it's not linear. It's up and down. It's up and down, up and down. So if you're not in a strong spiritual and mental place, it's going to be 10x harder. So it's entrepreneurship, being a Latina and being an entrepreneur is such a beautiful experience, but also it's not easy, right? And then you come across people that are amazing and empowering and supportive, and you feel that they're genuine. But then you also come across the other side, right?
Yeah.
The complete opposite. And you just have to, sometimes you want to avoid it, but sometimes I feel like God is taking you on that other side because there's something he wants to teach you, but also he wants you to do something for the other side, right?
Right.
So now I'm at a point where I was kind of like, okay, you know what? I'm going to avoid all the negativity, which we should, but there's some negativity that's there to teach us something.
It's true.
Right? Yeah. So it's been a hard journey in that sense when it comes to that, because you have to pick and choose your battles, because you cannot fight all battles. And first of all, the battle is his, it's not yours, but leaving it in God's hands, trusting him. And at the end of the day, he guides you. And just like he opens doors, he closes doors for you. And that's basically it. You can't force a door open. That's just the bottom line. And you have to be patient with your journey and just continue to push to grow, because sometimes we want to see the results overnight. And we get so discouraged when we set this timeline for ourselves and it doesn't come through. And then you're like, oh, you know what? It's not meant for me. And then we throw in the towel, we give up too fast. But then if you just waited a little bit longer, persevere a little bit longer, you just never know what's on the other side, right?
It's so
and
true.
It's always blessings. At the end of the day, it's always blessings. Even in your shortcomings, even also when you fall down, there's so many lessons. I never call it mistakes. I call it experiences.
A learning experience.
It's an experience, but it's up to you to get back up and learn from it. Are you staying down, or are you coming back up and just getting better?
It's so true. I see it that way too, in terms of, like you said, it's always for a reason. Everything, like you said, that we each have our own paths. It's for a reason. It's there to teach us something. If we didn't learn from it, we'll get hit with it again until we learn, right? And just continue on. But I love the place that we are right now is connecting and supporting women, and just want to create a platform so that we can just continue to grow and just work together, especially as Latinas, right?
Yes.
Because that's one of the things that pushed me to start Latina Leaders. was the research that came to me when I took a social media break. It literally just came to me on my iPad. I was going through like a Yahoo, and it came up an article from Forbes basically saying how in the corporate world in the US that Latinas were like the lowest of, in leadership roles. And so that's what got me curious. And that's when I started to do my own research. Okay, what's happening in Canada? Because US is different. It's the same. It turns out to be the same way in terms of like incomes and all of that. And that's from Census StatScan, right?
Right.
And so it's like, that's really what pushed me to start this. And because I teach students, I thought this is a way to continue to grow. There's got to be some reason why the research is showing this. And
that's right.
How can we change this? How can we steer this? So I love right now the place that we're in. I do feel peace right now. And that's
amazing.
I'm like so grateful for that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I do want to talk about your friendship with your best friend. Like, how did you maintain it? Because you said that you met her.
We met in high school.
In high school. How were you able to maintain that friendship?
It's been hard. So life has taken us on different journeys, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. So life doesn't look the same for everyone. I think at the end of the day, when it comes to friendships, they can be tough. You go through ups and downs also in relationships and friendships, but ultimately just being there for one another. I would like to say that I've been there for my friends. I've been there for, I know you're referring to Vanya. You know Vanya.
Yeah.
You already know Vanya. So yeah, just being there for each other. Like, I mean, I've been there for her. She's been there for me. When she was starting her, her entrepreneurship journey,
Yeah.
I was like, I would like to say I was her number one cheerleader, if anything. I'm like, you got this, keep going. Like, I was like in her corner.
Yeah.
I was in her corner. I was pushing her, motivating her. And I'm like, you got this.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I guess you can call me a girl's girl, but that's how I identify myself. I'm always cheering on women. I'm always cheering on my friends, and it's genuine because I feel like sometimes it could turn into a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of envy.
Right.
And you know what? And then sometimes you take different routes with other friends, right? Where you're taking the entrepreneurship and then they're taking, but there's no wrong route. There's no right route. It's what's meant for you.
100%.
And you have to follow that. That is your path, and you just have to continue to carve it out.
Right.
And no matter what path you're on, just support each other, be there for each other.
And that's great advice because it's exactly that. Friendships can go through their moments and ups and downs, and then we go in different directions. But what I love about you and your best friend, who is also going to be on this show soon, is the fact that I've actually seen it in person where she's saying something really sweet about you and you have no idea what she's saying, right?
Oh my gosh.
And she's just here and I like supporting you. And I'm like, I love that. I love that about the two of you and how you're just so supportive of each other. And you can see it even on social media. You're sharing each other's things. And it's just really nice to see that, especially with Latinas.
Yes.
So I personally don't have a Latina best friend, but I've had best friends.
Okay, yeah.
I've had good and bad experiences,
of course,
right? Because we all
have.
do. But that's one thing I wanted to say to you and your best friend, that I really admire that friendship. And if there's any advice you can give to for people, like how can they maintain, I know it goes through their ups and downs, but is there a way that people can maybe maintain that?
Give each other space to grow.
Yes, that's a great.
Give each other space to grow because we go through different experiences, right? At given times. So, life takes us through the different paths. So no matter what, just give each other space to grow. And I might have an opinion about a situation she's in, and I don't necessarily agree with it.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I have to get upset because she's not. I think I'm giving her the best advice. It's coming from the heart, but that's not necessarily where she's at. I need to respect and give her space to grow.
100%. I love that advice because that's so true. It's not personal. Like it's someone else's life, what they prefer to do. And you're right. You're there because you care about them. You may not agree with what they're doing, but you do have to respect where they are in life because that's their learning journey.
That's
right. And you can't really come in between that. Yeah. So I love that advice.
And I think that's where friendships get tested, right? Really. Yes. Like, is this friend in my corner? Is this friend, I mean, you don't have to be there cheerleader with your pom-poms and stuff like, hey, go, go, go. But you know what I mean? Like just respecting and being there for you. If I call you and I say I want to vent or just listen to me, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And they get to know you, like your friends get to know you. And so they know what you need. They know what you need. So I love that advice. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I do want to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. And, we did talk about a little bit of cattiness. So that's part of it is competition. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of competition.
No, not at all.
But it's to a point where the competition may get a little negative, and or unsupportive, just not supportive at all. And that's where it can become a little bit, I guess, toxic in terms of friendships or even not even friendships, people that you don't even know and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about competition and maybe how can we steer it? How can we steer it in a different direction? Right?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Like how can, like, for example, we can just go back and forth. Like, how can we try to work together, ladies, without this negativity? And that's what we are about. And that's when we met, we did not feel that from each other. 100% support Andrea on her journey. And she has been supportive of me as well. So it's genuinely there, the support and wanting to help each other out. Right. She has been to a couple of my events too, which is really nice of her to come and attend. So, it's there. Right. So I'd love to talk a little bit about that. Have you come across the competition or anything like that in the beginning, especially when you were starting?
Yeah. So basically at the beginning and this entrepreneurship journey, you get to meet a lot of different people. You meet so many people. And then even yourself, you're trying to build this identity for yourself. Who is Andrea? What is she trying to build? Who is she trying to connect with? What is her audience? Who is my target audience? And also with that comes a lot of, people kind of, okay, who is she kind of a thing. But then you get people that try to get close to you just to kind of be curious about what you're doing, to kind of take that idea or, take it and run with it, whatever you want to call it. But, at the end of the day, to me, that's a compliment when people are trying to, or copy me or copy an idea. That's fine. I take that as a compliment. Amazing. If it works for you, amazing. But I feel like at the end of the day, you just have to, you need to set boundaries.
Yeah.
You need to set boundaries. Sometimes you need to cut ties with, even like work friendships and whatnot, business friendships. You have to just cut ties or, set your boundaries basically.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, there comes to a point where it's fine if someone wants to do something similar to whatever you're doing, but if it's always for that reason of opportunity and only, going to your events for a specific reason just to see what you're doing, and then like if it's all the time and that kind of thing, and there's no genuine type of connection there, or trying to support you, but it's only for really like opportunity. That's something I also feel like I don't want that around. You know what I mean? It's just, that's my personal thing, because I'm not like that at all. So
exactly.
I'm not like that.
We're the same, because I feel like to me, it's like, if I see you winning, I'm so happy for you. I don't have one little huesito of envy or jealousy. I will never understand it, to be honest. I know that exists. I know that's, it's there. Unfortunately, it's there. But me, I don't project that, because I don't feel that. And at the end of the day, that goes back to, really building the person you are inside, really connecting with who you are with, and connecting. It goes back to connecting to your confidence. But how do you get your confidence? By connecting to your gifts and talents. And who gives us our gifts and talents? God gives us our gifts and talents, right? So you need to be sure of who you are and what is it that you want to share with the world, because you can't go to the next person. Maybe they have a great idea. You can copy it to an extent, but you're never going to be that person at the end. You know what's so funny? I just did a post yesterday and my caption was, they may steal the recipe, but they can't steal your sauce. That's so funny. We're talking about this.
There you go. And see, that's a great caption. But I'm sure you wrote that for like a reason, because you've dealt with stuff like that before, right? And so it's so true, because you can only be your authentic self.
That's right.
Everyone has to be their authentic self. That's what makes them different, right? So if you're always copying someone, you're never going to be that genuine person, and you're never going to identify that way. So that's why everyone should definitely learn about who they are and try to figure that out, because that's a journey in itself, right?
That's right.
So I love that advice, and I feel the same way. So in terms of like how can we steer the competition? Well, really, at the end of the day, we're open. Like, it seems like you're the same way. We're open to meeting women and supporting women and welcoming them all. But we're also genuine as well.
Yes. 100%.
So we want genuine people in our lives as well. So that's something that I would totally do too, is like I would steer myself away from certain people, because I've had to deal with that as well.
At the end of the day, we all have a gifts or talents, and you're doing Latina Leaders, I'm doing She Rises Network. Mine are more centered towards connecting women, empowering women, supporting women, but I do me time self-care events, right? Yours is more like Latina Leaders. It's the title in itself, right? So it's amazing. So we can co-support each other, be there for each other, but there's no competition. She has something totally amazing to offer that's completely different than what I offer. Mine could be amazing too. Is amazing, by the way. This is amazing. But like, it's completely different. We're different, and we have our unique gifts and talents. And like God says, like, there's no carbon copy. This is it. You were put on this earth, Jennifer, because you have a gift to share with the world.
Right, exactly.
And the same goes for all of us.
I feel like we come into people's lives at the right time, at the right moment, when it's supposed to happen, when we actually align together.
That's right.
So that's how I feel. I believe in God. I believe in the universe. So I really feel that way, when we're here to build something, something important, making an impact, is when really everything starts to align together.
100%.
Yeah. So,
and that is beautiful. That is because you know what you want. You know what your goal is. You know what you want, what you have to offer to the world. And that is ultimately the goal.
That's the goal.
Right? To share our gifts and talents that God has, put in us for us to share with everyone.
Yeah. And that's how I feel now.
Y contigo rompieron el molde because you're doing amazing.
Oh, muchas gracias, by the way, for those really sweet words of yours. But I'm doing my best, to manage. But yeah, how could I not when I am connected to students, right? And I really feel like, especially the leadership roles, since they're vacant, it's like the percentage is really low in terms of Latinas.
Wow.
I feel like there's something missing. There's got to be something, and I'm only one person, right?
Yeah.
But I'm doing my best to kind of show them separately outside of school, like different things that I know, and bring them to events so that they can connect with professionals. I would really like them to connect with more Latina professionals as well, and things like that, because that's the only way that we can really grow.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's sharing. Nothing takes away from sharing a resource to someone else, right?
Yeah.
And mentioning names in other rooms without that person being there.
I love that.
I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
To me, that's like my adage. Like, I'm always mentioning, oh, for that, okay, let me connect you with, I know this person. Let me connect you with that person.
Yes. I'm the same way.
It costs $0 and 0 cents to share a resource with someone, to support. You're supporting two people at the same time. Mm-hmm. The one that needs the resource and the one that you're connecting them with. Like, it's a win-win.
It totally is. And I totally believe in the great energy that you put in, that you send out, definitely always comes back to you. So
yes,
I love that.
Of course, 100%. I agree.
Okay, so Andrea, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen.
And before we go, can you please let everyone know where they can find you exactly?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at numerical 6, IXGETFITFAM, and it's 6 Get Fit Mommy. You can find me there on Instagram. And yeah, that's pretty much my contact.
Okay. Thank you so much, Andrea. It was so nice to have you. I'm going to give you a hug.
Thank you so much.
I think you're amazing.
Thank you. And you're amazing too.
I think you're amazing. I really admire what you do. And I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to connect and meet. Too. And I really hope that at some point you and I will collaborate together as well.
I would love that.
It would be a fantastic thing to do.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here. For those of you watching, if you like this type of content, please subscribe, hit the like button, share, and watch some more amazing stories. Thank you so much. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.